Hey, Lori Lothian here, Lunatic Astrology. This is the post-eclipse post-mortem. Oh, that eclipse yesterday, July the 2nd, was extraordinarily intense. And I'm sure most of you felt that way, even if you were not in the visible part of the world, like where you can actually watch that total solar eclipse that occurred. And in the sign of Capricorn. So for all of us cardinal signs, Aries and Libra and Cancer and Capricorn, especially if you have planets in not just your sun sign, but any planet in those signs, you would have to some degree felt it more strongly than most people. So yesterday I sat on the beach and during the actual eclipse hours in Vancouver, Canada, where I'm on vacation, and I literally found myself in a state of complete melancholic stillness. It's the strangest thing. And I talked to friends yesterday who had deep fatigue yesterday. Some people went to bed early, some people slept deeply, etc. But it had a physical impact on a lot of us. I'm doing a post-mortem because I'm trying to really suss into more than just the astrology of these eclipses. I think eclipses are always space-time anomalies in some way. I think it disrupts, it's like a pattern interrupt in our regularly scheduled space-time bound consciousness. So today I pulled two cards for the eclipse out of a deck called the Osho deck. And I want to share the cards with you as opposed to astrology. And so the first card is, what was this eclipse really for? And it's We Are the World. And I will read the information to you. And what is the outcome for those who are available to receive the blessings of yesterday's full solar eclipse in the sign of Capricorn? And that is this card, Transformation. So this is a major arcana. This would be the Death card in the regular tarot, okay? So I'm going to tell you a bit about what Osho says in this book, or what the creators of the Osho Zen Tarot said. And I'm staying at a girlfriend's house in Vancouver. I'm away from Montreal right now. So she happened to have these cards on her dining room table or coffee table. So I'm using what's at hand here today in this little video. But take a listen to We Are the World. I think it's pretty exciting in terms of the potentiality of that wormhole that we're still in until the until mid next summer, really, 2020. But we have an eclipse coming up, lunar style, on the same Capricorn-Cancer axis, coming up on the 16th of July. And to continue the wormhole, oh, I just saw a strange flash of light. What was that? To continue the wormhole, we have the December 25th, 6th, depends on where you are in the world, eclipse as well, which is a solar eclipse. And so there's just this ongoing, and it began on January 5th this year, okay, with a partial solar eclipse at 15 Capricorn. So you can picture these eclipses as kind of like a spiral. I think of it like a tunnel or a wormhole, and we're traveling through this particular eclipse cycle together, and some of us are feeling it way more strongly than others. As I said, anyone with a sun sign in Aries or Libra, Capricorn or Cancer, you're definitely feeling it. Whether or not you have any other planets in those signs, you're feeling it, dudes. Okay, so and I'm feeling it because I have my Sun, Moon, and Mercury all together in the sign of Aries in a very tight stellium, and so this is impacting me quite strongly. So We Are the World is what the card is, first card for the eclipse, and the meaning of the eclipse for all of us. And it is this: when thousands and thousands of people around the earth are celebrating, singing, dancing, ecstatic, drunk with the divine, there is no possibility of any global suicide. I like that. With such festivity and with such laughter, with such sanity and health, with such naturalness and spontaneity, how can there ever be a war? Life has been given to you to create and to rejoice, to celebrate. When you cry and weep, when you're miserable, you are alone. When you celebrate, the whole existence participates with you. Only in celebration do we meet the ultimate, the eternal. Only in celebration do we go beyond the circle of birth and death. So that's just the Osho words for it. That was some lecture that Osho gave years ago. Someone recorded it, and then they made a card out of it. And then there's a whole other little diatribe over here. But I really like the actual Osho words preferably. And I'm not advocating that Osho, it was perfect. I'm not saying that he's a saint or was a saint. I'm saying this is a useful divinatory tool. Okay, there's no advocacy for gurus, etc. So we are the world. It's clearly an invitation through this portal that we're in to collectively come together, to find what there is to celebrate, to choose celebration over despair. It is an energy of hope, but also, as the card shows, of holding hands, of connecting across and through a circle. So the result for those available to receive the blessings and the transformation in this eclipse, it is literally the card called Transformation, or also known as the 13th card of a major arcana deck, which is the Death and Rebirth card itself. So I haven't actually read what the book says about it. So before I do that, I'll say this. Anytime over the years, some of you don't know this, but I have a 10-year career as a psychic in my early 30s to early 40s, and I didn't use tarot cards, but I'm a tarot card reader. I'm primarily just pure clairvoyant. But I'm quite steeped in tarot. I've used tarot on my own since I was in my early 20s, when someone gave me my first tarot deck, which was a Salvador Dali deck. And I want to say that for me, that Death and Rebirth card, especially when I see it in the context of something like the eclipses, is a signal that this is really a time of profound collective regeneration and renewal. Because, you know, when we see the archetypal energies of death, you know, we know that embedded within every ending is always a beginning, and within every beginning there's always an ending. Like it's a perpetual Ouroboros, the snake eating its tail, cyclical nature of space-time reality that we seem to be in, that endings begat beginnings and beginnings begat endings. And so right now, with the death card basically pulled out for this eclipse, I probably echo a lot of channelers as well out there right now who are talking about this being a time of great collective rebirth on the planet. And we are, in fact, coming to the end of a yuga, or an age, the Kali Yuga, and moving into the golden age, or a new time of refreshing ourselves on this planet. It's not going to always be easy. I am channeling a book called, I think it's going to be called The Coming Age of Miracles, and it started on May 23rd as a daily message in the mornings that I began to write down after a very profound dream, that I was lifted out of a sunroof of my car into some chariot and taken to the court of God, or to the kingdom of God. And I don't remember what happened after that, but I woke up the next day with this voice, and so I've been channeling it. So in the coming age of miracles, there is definitely a terrible and wondrous time ahead. It's not all easy. It's not all perfectly magic carpet ride. There are going to be calamities and chaos, and there will be death upon the planet. But death also begets life. So in that not too depressing, I hope, mode, the transformation card is one of the things that this eclipse is heralding, and I'll just read you a little bit of that before I sign off for today in this post-mortem of the eclipse check-in with you guys. All right, and you'll notice, by the way, I didn't do the typical astrology posting here about what the eclipse means. There's so much content out there, and I really am not sure where I fit yet in terms of what really interests me. I'm more of a research astrologer, and I'm very oriented toward the predictive and prophetic, or forecasting, if you would say. And so just bear with me as I try to find what it is that I really care about and share that passion with you. So I'm sort of stepping very slowly into what this channel really wants to become. So transformation, this is the words of Osho himself. A master in Zen is not simply a teacher. In all the religions, there are only teachers. They teach you about subjects which you don't know. They ask you to believe because there's no way to bring those experiences into objective reality. Neither has the teacher known them. He has believed them. He transfers his belief to somebody else. Zen is not a believer's world. It is not for the faithful ones. It is not for those daring souls who can drop all belief. Oh, it is for those daring souls. Yes, thank you. It is for those daring souls who can drop all belief, unbelief, doubt, reason, mind, and simply enter into their pure existence without boundaries. Okay, I can track with this guy. But it brings a tremendous transformation. Hence, let me say that while others are involved in philosophies, Zen is involved in metamorphosis. in transformation. It is authentic alchemy. And you know, it's interesting, my girlfriend wrote a book and it's coming out soon. Her name is Karen McMullen. It's called The Alchemy of Consciousness. And I think it is a transmission worth reading, and I will be sharing that book with you guys here. But there is something about authentic alchemy. You know, you can read books about religions, you can study, you can go to church and listen to the minister speak. You can meditate your brains out to get your mind calm and steal that monkey mind. And you can do all kinds of practices, but authentic alchemy has nothing to do with what we believe, what we read, and what we practice, especially if the practice becomes a habit. Like a self-soothing, like a pacifier, you know? A lot of meditators I know meditate for a long time every day, like 2 hours, and they go out in the world and they're fucked up. You know, nothing's changed. The same old self is still there. And so this authentic alchemy is what this eclipse is bringing into being. It's about transformation and metamorphosis. It's not about tinkering at the level of the surface. The identity itself that we think we are is collapsing, each of us collapsing, and that is authentic alchemy. And I'm going to continue reading Osho. It changes you from base metal into gold, but its language has to be understood, not with your reasoning and intellectual mind, but with your loving heart, or even just listening, not bothering whether it is true or not. And a moment comes suddenly that you see it, which has been eluding you your whole life. Suddenly, what Buddha called the 84,000 doors open. Okay, so, my mind goes 84,000 doors, that's 12. 12 is the number of the zodiac, and there's, I'm already doing the numerology on 84,000 doors. 12 apostles of Jesus and all of that. All right, so I'm going to finish this up with two things. One, with that moon coming up, lunar eclipse coming up mid-month, pay attention to the between now and then energies that you're experiencing. Even though the solar eclipse has a 6-month window of impact on you, pay attention to what happens between that eclipse that we just experienced on July 2nd and the 15th when the lunar eclipse kicks in. I look at this as like a seed was planted for every one of us yesterday on the July 2nd eclipse, and by the time we get to mid-month, I think you'll see the first sprout of it. Just something poking up above the surface of the soil of your awareness. And it may be something entirely surprising, because right now it's just gestating within you. It may be a new idea. I had an idea come to me. It's for something to write. It might be an inkling about a new direction. It might be something to do with a whole new way of defining your reality. It might be dramatic, actually, but you may not take action on it yet. Okay, we're in the middle of a bunch of retrogrades, guys, with Mercury in its retrograde shadow going retrograde soon enough, and a ton of planets in retrograde until we get to turn around from retrograde reality beginning near the end of August. So you may actually have insights now. You may not make reality happen or action on those insights until a month or two, especially when we move into August, which is quite a different energy than the intensity of our July. So, second of all, take a look down below. I'm going to give you some links to some stuff, which is one, I put a blog post up yesterday. If you're into my Awakened Dreamer Enlightenment stuff, I think you'll enjoy this post. It's about why you don't have to amputate your ego in order to find enlightenment. I'm also putting a post down below to my new reading sale for the Eclipse portal Wormhole, and it's called Breakthrough to Miracles. And it is going to be relevant all the way through to mid-2020, but the sale is active until September 1st. So if you would like me to look at your natal chart for an hour and a half on Zoom with you and share with you how I think this eclipse is re-navigating you and rebirthing you, transforming you with alchemy and all of that, I'm happy to give you some guidance. And so the link for that sale is down below. And the last thing is... yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, all that stuff. My channel, if you like it, great. If you don't, that's okay too. All right, guys, it's a cloudy day in Vancouver, Canada. I'm off to my chiropractor. No, acupuncturist. I'm maxing out my healthcare providers while I'm back in my former hometown. All right, take care. Talk to you guys soon. Mwah.